Good morning, everybody. How are we all? I'm back. It's Technique Tuesday. Thank you very, very much for giving me a bit of space and a bit of time to get my head together after the craziness that was Dorset Art Weeks and my painting retreat. And I'd love to be able to say that I took lots of time off and relaxed on a sun lounger somewhere, but I really didn't. And that's effectively everything that I am going to tell you about today, because I have some big news coming and some exciting news to boot. But Technique Tuesday would be nothing without the lovely community of followers and people that take the time to tune in either live or via catch up. And so this is going out live on Facebook, on my Alison Seaboard page. And I must just stop for a moment and say hello to everyone who is in the room. Pen, good morning. You got the first comment back of the Technique Tuesday after the break. Congratulations. Who else have we got in the room? Joe T, good morning. Linda, Kathy. Who else we got? Oh, they're zipping by very quickly. Josie, good morning. Patricia, everybody very, very enthusiastic about commenting this morning. Janet, Joe L, gosh, lots of Joes this morning. Martina, sending you a very big hug, Martina. Lynn is saying, good morning, everybody. Hope you had a good couple of weeks. Great to have you back. That's very, very kind, Lynn. Jane is saying, hurrah, I'm back. And G is here. Rosie over in France. Oh, bless you, Rosie. She's saying that everyone's had withdrawal symptoms. I'm sure that's not true, but that's very sweet of you to say. Julie is saying, good morning, all my UK friends. Julie, far and away from where I am at the moment. My lovely mum is in the room and is saying a quick hello. Mwah. Good morning, mum. Ali WT is in the room. Lou, Chris, Heather. Heather is saying, it's lovely to have me back doing a Technique Tuesday. Can't wait to hear all the news. I'm so excited. I can only give it to you in small amounts though, because I'll get overexcited like a puppy. Mary, Sally W, Mick. I was really hoping that you would tune in because I wanted to send you a massive, massive hug, both to you and to Esme Rose. You've been fantastic in supporting me all this time. It is now time, Mick, for us to support you too. So please don't feel lonely. Please don't feel helpless. We are all here for you. If there's anything we can do, you only have to shout. Viv, good morning. Anne, Susie is in Corfu. Oh, we're all terribly international today. And Sue, Joe, Janet. Janet is saying Technique Tuesday is coming home. And thanks very much to everyone who is sending Mick a big hug. I'm sure he appreciates it. Now, so many things to tell you, so little time to tell you it, okay? Now, if you go over to the blog, which is over on my website, www.alisonseaboard-fineart.co.uk. I'm going to, over the next few weeks, be kind of trickling out the big news that I have. Don't guess what it is. The chances are you won't guess what it is. So it's one of those things where just have the fun in engaging with the things that I put out and when I put them out. But I do have one very big, important piece of information for you. So you are going to need a pen and a piece of paper. And effectively, Technique Tuesday is the first of those things to have a few minor and then major changes. You might have noticed that there are a few new graphics floating about. You might have noticed that there's a slightly new colour scheme. All sorts of things are happening in the background at the moment. Now, Technique Tuesday has been, up until now, lots of very tuition-based follow-alongs, all of those kind of things. But I was having a think during my break. Lots of places you can find that tuition. Lots of my contemporaries, myself included, impart that tuition on a very regular basis. But I've been talking to a lot of people recently, and lots of you have said to me, I love following along with the tutorials. I love doing it step by step, but I get really scared when I step away from the tuition because I don't really understand how to be a self-sufficient artist. And this got me thinking that actually us tutors are so busy telling you how to do something, we don't necessarily help you out when you step away from your devices or your classes to be a much more self-sufficient painter. And this is part of what I would like Technique Tuesday to help you with in the future. So Technique Tuesday is going to alter very slightly. It's going to be slightly selfish as well. I don't get to work on projects for myself very often, simply because my incredible life is taken up with lesson planning and all sorts of things. And I don't necessarily think that makes me a fantastic tutor. I need to be working on my own projects to be able to inspire all the people out there. And I had a bit of a light bulb moment, and I was thinking, do you know what? If on Technique Tuesday I actually start working on some of my own projects and let you in on some of the things that I'm doing, some of the secrets, they're not really secrets, that I use in my own work, and I kind of impart everything. We'll still talk about materials, we'll still talk about resources, but you will get to a little bit of an insight into how my brain ticks, into how that artistic and creative brain works, or mine at the very least. And then what we can do is open up the discussion to all of you. And you can ask me questions, you can investigate what it is that I'm working on, you can interrogate me during Technique Tuesday and afterwards on the blog, and hopefully that will be useful. So I just want to see what everybody is saying, and there lots of people are sending Mick lots of love. Maureen, good morning. Ali D is in the room, and both Ali and Sandy, who I can say have logged in very simply this morning. I'm just about to put a spanner in your works, but never mind, it'll all be fine. Rosemary, yes, Rosemary's got golf to play, so she's going to catch up later, absolutely. And Mick, mwah, I can see that you're disappearing, nice to have you here. Sharon, hello Leo. Heather is saying scary, and Rosie is saying that she likes the great ideas for the revamped Technique Tuesday. I'm glad to hear about it. Right, have you got your pen and your piece of paper? Because I want you to write this down, if that's okay. Good morning, Val. On the 31st of August, there's lots of other news to come, but this is the first piece. On the 31st of August, which is a Tuesday, coincidentally, Technique Tuesday is going to ever so slightly, don't get scared, ever so slightly move house, okay? Good morning, Thyra. At the moment, you will know if you're watching live, you go to my professional Facebook page, Alison Seaboard Artist, and that is where I broadcast Technique Tuesday. But Technique Tuesday is going to have a slight sideways move. So some of you, an awful lot of you I know, are part of my Learning to Paint community. And it's on Facebook, it's exactly the same. It's just a group rather than a page. So you do have to request membership. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to do anything. You just have to answer a couple of questions so that I know that it's you. And then I can let you in as part of that community. And it's a fabulous community. We all look out for each other. We share advice, all the things that Technique Tuesday is well known for. And so in the future, from the 31st of August, write that on your piece of paper, 31st of August. Big question mark, or stick it in your diary. I am going to shift where I broadcast over to there. So that's the only place, apart from my blog post, that you will be able to see Technique Tuesday. Certainly the only place you're going to be able to see it live. So circle that date in your diary, put lots of exclamation marks around it. I have done that too. And from the 31st, that is where you will find me. Now, let's have a read of your comments, because this is more important. Anne is saying, sounds an interesting approach to Technique Tuesday. Definitely a good idea. Thank you, Anne. I have stressed about it quite a lot, as you can imagine. It's me. Jennifer. Good morning, Jennifer. This sounds good as I get scared and muddled when I try myself. Brilliant. That's brilliant news. Not that you get scared and muddled. That's brilliant news that hopefully the things that I am going to do are going to help you. Kat. Good morning. Kat and I have been having some chats over the last couple of days. Nice to see you. Lynn. Lynn is saying, now this is important. I'm suffering from artist block. Got all my stuff together, but afraid to actually put paint to brush. Happens to us all, Lynn. You're in very, very good company. The thing is to not put yourself under too much pressure. Enjoy something else. Make a cake. Do some gardening. Do something else creative. Listen to some music. Find your new inspiration. But I know what it's like. You pick up that pencil and you go, ooh, I should be doing something. Step away from it. step away from it because it doesn't do you any good. Who else is in the room? Joe is saying, love the sound of the new format. I found the tutorials excellent, would love to find my own style. Thank you. Yes, that's really, really important, isn't it? Yeah, I don't want you to paint like me. I've got all my own hang-ups. I want you to paint like you. And that's the whole point of Technique Tuesday, isn't it? Who else is in the room? Dee, good morning, gorgeous. Pippa is in the room. Joe is saying you're always in my diary. Looking forward to the new format. And Heather is saying that she likes the sound of the change. Okay, I'll stop with the news now, but there's going to be lots more to come. I'm going to tease you over the next few weeks because there's some big, big changes coming and I'm so excited. Can you tell? Can you tell how excited I am? Right, let's start a project. Oh, just before I do, Steph is saying, good morning, Ali. A bit late. I need inspiration, please. In capital letters, I will try my hardest, Steph. And Fran, just the other side of my home county, is here too. So is Darren. Gosh, lots of you in the room this morning. It's brilliant. Thank you so much for all being here. Right, let's go to the overhead camera and you can see some of the things that I'm working on. This is going to be the project that I work on for the next couple of weeks. Will I finish it? Who knows? But let's get it started nonetheless. Now, lots of things to share with you here. Let's get them sorted out. I have got all sorts of bits of resource here. And don't worry, I'm going to share with you why I've got them, how I came about them, all of those kind of things. But I am going to be working on a bee project. Now, I know that there's some of you in the room that have got a bit of a wry smile right now who are going, oh, bees, how unusual for you, Ali. Yes, they're a bit of a theme for me, but this is a project I have wanted to work on for at least 3 years, I think it probably is, and I will show you why. Now, this was a painting that I did 2 or 3 years ago, probably more than that, because we sort of forget about 2020, don't we? Moving on. This was a painting that I did as a test for a particular product, and I did not anticipate how popular this image would be. It went absolutely crazy. I made it into greetings cards, I sold the original, all sorts of things happened when I created this picture. It wasn't really even meant for anything. It was just to test out a product and for my own amusement, but everybody seemed to really like the combination of the floral patterns and the animal element. And for a long time now, I have been wanting to do something similar with a bee. So I'm going to start it today. I'm going to share some of the equipment that I'm going to be using. We can talk about the equipment. You can ask questions via the live chat. You can chat to each other as well. And then what we'll do is we'll see it through for a few weeks. I might do some bits in between if I can and record those for you. But we'll just see how we get on, shall we? Now, there's some comments and questions coming in already. Lots of people saying very nice things about my bunny painting. Thank you very much. Pen is saying, do you find, like myself, one has too many ideas in your head and that gives you a block? Okay, so a little bit of a secret. I have way too many ideas for this lifetime, okay? And it doesn't necessarily give me block. What it does do is frustrate me because I can't get them all out. So I think what I have to do is kind of isolate them a little bit, kind of give them a state of importance, give them a bit of a hierarchy, and work on those ones that I find are going to get me the most fired up. But I absolutely understand what you mean, Pen. It is quite a tricky one. Anita's in the room. Hello, lovely. And so here we go. So I want a bee. If you look at the hair picture again, that was an outline of a hair. So I'm going to need an outline of a bee of some sort. And then I need some flowers, some floral patterns to fit within that. So I've got my bee here. Now, I found these line drawings on a copyright-free site that I am a member of. And I was looking at them in a kind of context. Now, this one I've used before for a couple of personal projects. There are some of you in the room who will have recognised this. Now I like parts of this, but I don't particularly like the bee's head. I definitely don't like the bee's body. And I didn't want a bee with a pointy bottom. I know that sounds daft, but I didn't want a bee that could sting. What I actually wanted was more like a bumblebee. So I liked this body a little bit more. I do have a bit of experience of painting bees. So these two things are going to be composites. So I'm going to draw various things out of these, put them together. Plus, I'm going to have a look at some of my bee photographs. Maybe we will share those next week. Now over here, just to my right hand side, I've got a piece of paper and a pen because this is part of my process. If you've ever seen me work before, you will know that as I have ideas, what I do is I write them down on my piece of paper. So let's do that straight away. I am very much a note taker, a list maker. Has to be done, in my opinion, because otherwise this stuff just falls out of my head. Dearie me. So here we go. Technique Tuesday. Let's hope I can spell when it's live on air. Technique Tuesday. So in a sort of to-do list, I need to find all my photos of bees. Now that's an awful lot of them, so I'm going to have a look at them and narrow them down a little bit. But that is something that I definitely need to do. And I do this list making. I know it's not desperately artistic, but it means that I don't have to remember it as I'm being creative. So my little list making is incredibly important to me. Anne is saying, I haven't cut my lawn this year as my garden is full of lovely bees, and I haven't cut my lawn either. Now, I would like to say it's because of the wildlife. It's basically because I've been too busy to cut my lawn, and the weather has been rain and sun and rain and sun and rain and sun. So what I have got is a biodiverse lawn, and that's what I'm sticking with. Right, so what we've got is we have got this bee, which I don't like its bottom, but I very much like its wing pattern. Really like the wing on this, quite like the legs too. I'm going to have a think about those. And this bee, where I have got a much more interesting body, not wild about the head, and I don't like the fact that these wings are dropped. So maybe I need to have a look at the head part of it as well. So I've got that bit of reference gathered. And then in order to think about what flowers I might incorporate, I've been sort of looking at colour patterns and images and all sorts of elements that I can incorporate, because obviously if I'm going to do a bumblebee, it's going to need to be black or greys and yellows, or maybe some buff colours as well. One of my favourite bumblebees is a buff-tailed bumblebee, and I need to look at that. Right, that needs to go on the list. What colours for a buff-tailed bumblebee? So I need to have a look at that as well. Maybe I need to make a colour palette for that so that I can choose what flowers I use. I started off with these. I think that's Black-Eyed Susan, I think that is. I'm not entirely sure. This one was just a random, someone out there, tell me what this sort of flower is. I just like them because it was yellow and I liked the flatness of them. I kind of like the big petalled. So my brain is kind of working around. I haven't sorted it out yet in my head as to how I'm going to put this together, but this is a really good start. Maybe I don't do what I did in the bunny. Maybe I don't crop the flowers quite so closely. Maybe I go outside of the lines a little bit so that maybe my flowers occupy kind of more of a space outside of the bee. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. These are all questions I need to answer as I go along. So I've got the bit of reference there. I might not use this. Who knows? This might not be the answer to any of my questions. I've got my bee outlines, which I'm going to start working with today, possibly. I'm going to show you a bit of a technique with those. And I have got my piece of watercolour paper here ready. I don't think I'll get to drawing it out today. But what I do need to do is to make some decisions about the surface that I'm going to work on. And the surface is going to be good old Saunders Waterford watercolour paper. Why is it going to be Saunders Waterford watercolour paper? It's going to be Saunders Waterford because I can rely on it, okay? How can I rely on it? I know that it's going to stand up to whatever it is I decide to throw at this. I haven't decided exactly what medium I'm going to use. It's probably going to be watercolour based, but there's probably going to be some ink in there too. Not sure about Brusho yet, haven't made that decision. But this surface needs to be really nice and stable, that I can be terribly, terribly mean to it. And then that way it's not going to fall apart on me. And so this is a traditional white watercolour paper. This is 425 gram. So Pen is asking, can you show me the right side of the watercolour paper? Okay, Pen, there isn't... Oh, my camera is deciding to autofocus quite a lot today. I'll keep my piece of paper still. That's what's making it go peculiar. Pen, there isn't really a right and a wrong side of watercolour paper. Now, I'm going to ask you to hold that thought. I know it seems very mean that I'm not answering the question today, but hold that thought, because part of the big news, the exciting news that's coming, is to do with questions like the one you have just asked, okay? But in the short term, if you hold your piece of paper up to the light, and I can't, because I don't think it's on here. It is on here. It's down in the bottom right-hand corner. And of course, I haven't got a torch or anything to show you. There is a watermark down here, just in the bottom right-hand corner. And so if you can read the watermark, it says Saunders Waterford. It goes all the way along here. If you can read the watermark the right way around, then that is the side that was intended for your colour, or that was intended for the particular surface. This is a NOT surface. And so it's not that you can't paint on the back, it's just a different experience. But Pen, if you don't mind, you know me, I will always answer a question if I possibly can, but that is part of the big news that's coming. Oh, we have news. So Rosie... Is it Rosie? Yes, Rosie Evans is saying the flower is an osteospermum. Thank you, Rosie. I wouldn't have known that. I had to read that 4 times to make sure that I was pronouncing it correctly. I don't do names of plants. I go, oh, it's a pretty yellow one. So apologies to all you gardeners out there. Now, what is Sally saying? Sally is saying, so glad to hear you are a list maker and a note taker, Ali. I do too, and thought that wasn't very arty of me. Trouble is, I often lose my notes. Right, well, Sally, I have just started to turn my notes digital so that I stop losing them. And probably after today, I'm going to turn those notes into digital format so that I know where they are all the time. Oh dear. And Rosie is saying I could paper my lounge with the lists I have. Now, Sally makes a good point, actually, about, is this an arty thing to do? I don't know. I don't know that it's arty in terms of me making a very ordered list isn't terribly creative, but it is definitely part of the creative process, isn't it? I can't possibly be my best creative person if I've got all this stuff floating around in my head that I'm trying to remember. So if in the creation of something, I need to get that information out of my head, or you guys have asked me a question and I'm thinking, oh, I need to remember that, then I think making a list of those things means that I remove them from my crazy head, and then I can put them to one side and deal with them later. So I think this is a process part, and I promised you, didn't I, that it would be I would let you into all parts of my process, and I think this is just one of them. So I've got my bees here. I'm actually now dun dun dun, I'm going to use tracing paper. Let's have a conversation sometime, maybe not today, about, is tracing cheating? Now, many of you know where I stand on this. Is tracing cheating? Is tracing cheating? No, it's not cheating. It's a shortcut. That's all it is. If anybody ever says to you that tracing paper is cheating, give them my email address. I will have that conversation with them, okay? I will take it off of your hands, all right? That's a thing between you and me. I'm going to use some tracing paper to trace off these patterns, but I wanted to introduce you to some of the other materials that I've got lurking around just over here. So I've got a putty eraser because it might be that I want to pick very lightly the graphite off my surface. I've put that ready for myself. I've got two different kinds of plastic eraser here. I've got a battery eraser, which do take a little bit of getting used to. So this is the J-Car one, and it's got a little button on the top. You sort of hold it like a pencil and you push it down. You can probably hear it. And that little eraser spins around on the end and it makes for very, very accurate erasing. And then I've got a teeny tiny eraser here. In actual fact, let's do a bit of a close-up on this eraser so you can see how fine this is. So this works exactly like a mechanical pencil. So you click it down just like that and the eraser comes out the end. Very fine. It takes refills just like this. This is a brand called Mono. It's made by Tombow, which is kind of a well-known brand. You get some refills. They come like this. And it's brilliant for doing very, very fine detail. So I've got that to hand. I've got my battery eraser to hand. All sorts of things I've got ready. Let's just zoom back out a little bit. There we go again. So I've got 3 different kinds of eraser. Seems overkill, I know, but I don't know what it is I'm going to need. So I've got them all here ready to go. And then in terms of things to draw with, I've got 3 different sorts here. I've got a twist up pencil, very, very fine nibbed pencil. I've also got a clutch pencil, obviously so called because it clutches onto the lead. And I've got a black sketching pen as well. All of those things are going to be useful for me doing my drawing and my transfer, all of that kind of stuff. Now, we're not going to get to everything today. What I wanted to do was to just share the materials with you so that you had some idea of how it is I'm going to push forward. Now, I've had a few questions come in. Chris is saying, I find that when ideas are floating around in my head at 4 a.m, then writing them down on a notepad helps me finally go to sleep. So definitely part of the arty process. Yes, Chris, I have recently discovered Siri as well on my phone. So I don't even have to turn the light on to make my notes. I just say, hey Siri, and my phone picks it up. And then I give it a bit of a message, and then of course I've just, can you imagine, I've just said the words, hey Siri, and all the Siri has all popped up on all my devices. So I can't say that. So yeah, I do verbal notes just like you. Paula is saying I keep a sketchbook with notes. Yes. Karine, good morning. Barbara is saying a dictaphone, small tape recorder, then it doesn't disturb your sleep. Yes, same thing applies. This is brilliant, folks. This is just brilliant for sharing of ideas. Right, we'll do just a few minutes of me doing this transfer. This tracing even, and then we can kind of regroup. We can chat about how Technique Tuesday is going to move forward, and then you've got lots of time to think about any questions you might have for me in the future. Which one am I going to start with? Let's start with this one. So I've got my piece of tracing paper. It's only a lightweight tracing paper, 63 grams, I believe. I don't like the heavier ones just because they're a little bit harder to see through. And also when you guys are watching at home, it is harder for you to see. It's a sort of a fuzzier finish. So I've just got a lightweight one here. A4 size this is at the moment, and this is a 1/4 imperial size piece of watercolour paper. So black pen is how I'm going to start off with this. Now I might change my mind, but such is my prerogative. I'm an artist after all. I can change my mind and do what I like with it. Now, not sure about this part of the body. Definitely like this part of the body. Although I think I'm going to add the buff little bottom onto my Bumblebee. I don't know whether that's going to stick or twist. I have no idea whether that's going to stay, but that's a really good place to start. So I'm going to work my way in the usual fashion, dotting and dashing my way around this lovely bee's bottom. So we're going to make our way up and around there. And then I'm going to add a few little bits of detail. And while I do, I can tell you about what I have in mind for this project. Now, because the the rabbit was such a success when I did it last time, I'm in a bit of a conundrum because I would like to turn my creation into a greetings card that I'm then hopefully going to sell. Maybe sell the original as well. But I tell lots of you out there to not put yourself under too much pressure when creating a painting, because you don't want to end up in that situation of what we call painting on a pedestal. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you have the outcome of your piece already signed and sealed, then it makes for a lot of pressure for you making this a success. But unfortunately, that is the difference between experimental work, kind of leisure painting, and being a professional artist. A professional artist often has to have an end result in their head because they're being paid or trying to create some sort of income out of their work. So I will say to you, don't put yourself under too much pressure. And then, of course, I will go and ignore all of that stuff completely because I would like to turn this into a greetings card and I would like lots of people to buy it. It is just the conundrum that we are given. Now, you probably saw what I did there. I lifted up my piece of tracing paper and I put the other B shape underneath it. I don't quite know where it's going to go. I'm sort of moving it around in the vague hope that inspiration will hit me as to where I want to put things. I think there is fine. Now, I do like the leg shapes. I think the legs are going to give me the opportunity to create other things with the flowers, but I don't know. So I'm going to put them in very loosely and very lightly to start with. So we'll just get that in. Do I want to put those bits of legs in? Do you know what? I don't know. Haven't decided, but very excited about these wing shapes. Because that's, I have a feeling I know what I want to do with these wings in terms of flowers. But we'll make our way through this project and we'll see, shall we? So we'll get that one in and we'll get that one in. And then over on this side, we can get that wing in, coming up there, and we can get this one in as well. So nice fluid lines. And then if I take everything away, so let's take that one away, and then let's unfurl this. So you can see my bee is starting to take shape now. So you don't have to use just one thing. You can composite it. You can move your way around your tracing if you choose to. Now, lots of comments coming in. Joy is saying, should have said hi, Ali, and everybody. Hello, Joy. Ali is saying, as one of the most technologically advanced persons I've ever known, my ghast is now completely flabbered to learn you've only just discovered Siri. I use it for all my posts, emails, texts, and everything. Yes, Ali, I couldn't agree more. I have used Siri a lot in the past, but she does frustrate me at times because with my Dorset accent, I have to speak very, very clearly, or it doesn't translate. So she doesn't always get it right. And in the middle of conversations and things, I get very annoyed with her and start shouting at her, and she doesn't appreciate it. In the middle of the night, so this is Sally, in the middle of the night, it's often jobs and sometimes creative, but definitely helps to write it, not try to remember it, which just keeps me awake. Yes. Hello, Ronald. Nice to see you. Heather is saying, if you traced in pencil, you could erase if you changed your mind. Yes, Heather, you could do. I am doing it in pen so that you can very clearly see it. It also means that if I decide to replicate this line drawing for some reason in the future, I will be able to scan it much, much clearer. Now, Julie is saying you should try Siri with an Aussie accent. I love it. Right, let's lay those wing shapes back over this bee. Gosh, that's a confusing image now, isn't it? I quite like it, but I do think that I need to go back to my bee photographs and see if I can draw in a better version. And I need to kind of do a little bit of editing, but I promise you, lovely Technique Tuesday people, that if I progress this any further, I will record it for you. I'll probably do it in time lapse so that you can see anything I work. But if I don't have time between this week and next week, what I will then do is this is where we will start next time. So you will get to see the whole creative process from the very beginning to either the end or where I decide that I'm not working on it anymore, that it might be that it just hasn't realised itself, that we've abandoned it, and that maybe we just need to step away from it. And that is also part of your creative process. Right, let's get me back where I can see you. Okay, so I know it's baby steps at the moment because we're just kind of testing out this new format for Technique Tuesday, but I very much hope that that's going to help you. I hope that some of the things that I've talked about already this morning are helpful in terms of a project that you might be working on. Obviously, I'm not going to make the line drawing available to you or anything, but you know, do feel free to follow along and do your own version if you want to. It's just because this is a project for me, and so rather than it being a tutorial, it's much more interesting to talk about it. Look what we've already discussed this morning, that idea about note taking, about how you can get all those creative flutterings out of your head. So I hope in your own projects that has already started to be useful to you, because I want you guys to be the best creative versions of yourselves that you can possibly be. So we're going to carry on next Tuesday, next instalment as it were, and I'll hopefully have a little bit more news that I can impart to you, and that way we can keep this lovely dialogue going about helping each other out with projects. But don't forget that on the 31st of August, this broadcast will only go live on the Learning to Paint page. Don't know where to find that, not sure what it is that I'm talking about, either in the search bar. There is a link at the top of this Facebook post where you can click on and you can ask to be a member. But if you're not sure about how to do that, go to your little search bar on Facebook and put in Learning to Paint with Alison C. Board, and that group will pop up and you can just request to be a member. And then what will happen is that you'll be part of that amazing community. Every week we check in on each other, we make sure that everybody is all right, we do a little bit of what we call a mental health check, we welcome new members, we share materials, we share projects that we're working on. It's a much more community-based group rather than just me talking to you. Like I said, I want you to enjoy that part of it, to create those dialogues and to help each other out more, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? I will see you again at 10 o'clock next week for the next instalment of my Bee project. I've got a few classes on this week. I'm taking a cheeky weekend off. I know I've sort of been flitting in and out at the moment, but I have got the ballet school that I'm involved with have their end of term presentation, and I'm supposed to be stage managing that. So that's going to be some fun things to do at the weekend. And I'm also catching up with some very old friends, and I'm hopefully going to go and see some ballet myself as well. So that will be a lovely creative weekend. Whatever it is that you're doing for the rest of the week, I very much hope that you enjoy it. Don't forget to keep in touch. If you ever have a question, downendfarmstudio@gmail.com. And don't forget, if you want to catch up with this broadcast, you can do it either by going to Facebook on this page, or very, very easily popping over to my blog on my website, and you can read a little bit more about the things that I've talked about today, and you can watch that bit of video too. Thank you very, very much for tuning in and watching. Thank you for being so enthusiastic about my big news. Take lots of care of yourselves, won't you? And I will see you very, very soon. Take care, lovely people. Bye.